Hey, this is Will Bowen here with PA Software, and in this video I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually set up your phone to record videos for Hit Analyzer. Hit Analyzer really only has a few requirements when it comes to camera orientation and resolution and frames per second. And the first is probably the most important, is that you have your phone or your tablet oriented correctly. So when you go to record videos, you actually want to be recording in landscape and not in portrait, meaning that your phone is going to be turned sideways and not straight up and down. The second is that you want to make sure that your video resolution is at a minimum of 720p and that its frame rate is at least 120 frames per second. Now you can have higher resolutions and you can have higher frame rates. It really doesn't matter as long as you meet at least 720p and 120 frames per second. The little higher quality resolution is going to give maybe a little more accurate results, but you're really not going to see much difference. So feel free to play around with that. If you're not really sure what your video is recording in terms of resolution and frame rate, you can always go into your device's camera settings and actually see what that resolution and frame rate is. If that seems too hard or too confusing or you can't quite find it on your device, the convenient thing that we've done for our users is we've actually allowed for videos to be recorded inside the app and automatically added to the analysis queue. Now when you open up the in-app recording, what you're going to see is a little drop down in one of the top corners, and that top corner is going to have all the list all the available resolutions and frame rates for your particular device. So you don't really have to worry about anything, and you can kind of experiment around if your phone or your tablet supports multiple resolutions that meet our minimum requirements. If you're not really sure, or say you're getting a new phone or a tablet and you're not really sure if our apps are supported by that device, you can always go on our website and there's a table that lists all the devices that we support in terms of frame rate and resolution, and that's going to be on our Get Started or Support page. Setting up to record for Hit Analyzer is very straightforward. All you need to do is stand on the center of home plate and measure off 10 feet to either side, or you can step it off, doesn't really matter, and then you want to be about 5 feet in front of the plate. Now the reason that we want you to be in front of the hitter a little bit is this actually allows the hitter to be lined up in one of the outer thirds of the video when you go to record. This is very important, mainly because this allows the ball to be in the frame of view for much longer. If you were to stand directly off to the side of them, then the ball's only going to be in the frame for like 1 or 2 frames, and that's really not a lot of data points for us to be able to actually go in and calculate the metrics that you're most interested in. So the further into one of the thirds that you can get the hitter, the more data points that we're more than likely going to be able to detect, and that's really going to allow us to be very confident in the numbers that we're providing you. Now the second thing that you want to make sure of is, for here you can actually see that we have a nice dark still background. This is very important, as well as it is with Pitch Analyzer. The ball really helps with our detection algorithms if you have either your baseball or your softball really stick out against these backgrounds. Now one of the things you want to avoid, and sometimes this is kind of difficult to do when you're hitting, especially when you're in a cage setting, you may get a lot of background movement. So here you can actually see that you have an individual running and moving in the background. If you can, try and minimize this as much as you can, as it will reduce the chance of you getting any type of false readings and getting bad metrics. Okay, so now you're ready to record. Now you have a couple options when it comes to recording. You can either handhold the device and record that way, or you can mount it to a tripod. We encourage that you put it on a tripod, mainly because that is going to reduce any type of shakiness of the hands. Shaking of the hands will affect the results slightly. It's not going to be anything significant, but you know, if you're really into the most precise data that you can get, then definitely go with a tripod. Now, the great thing about Hit Analyzer is you don't necessarily have to be hitting on live BP. You can actually hit off of a T and record. So in this example, you can see here that the individual that is recording has their phone mounted to a tripod, and the batter here is hitting off of a T. And in this next clip, you can see that the person that's actually recording the video is actually now holding the camera and recording at the same time. Now, one thing you may notice is, well, hey, in the previous clip you just showed the video is being recorded face on, and now you have the guy recording from behind. Isn't that going to mess things up? No, not necessarily. Actually, this is one of the great things about Hit Analyzer is that you can actually record either face on or from behind. So if you really want to delve into the mechanics of a swing, then maybe you want to record face on. If you're more interested in the data, then you could possibly record from behind. Just be sure to set up your pre-analysis settings correctly before you actually go in and analyze. If you got questions on that, we have another video on that on our website and on our YouTube channel, so make sure you go check that out for the Hit Analyzer app walkthrough. The number one feedback that we get from our users is, hey guys, we love the app, just one thing, we don't want to necessarily put us or our property in danger of getting hit, and either ourselves getting injured or our phones or tablets getting destroyed by a batted baseball or softball. Now, as developers, we understand this. We don't want you to get hurt either. We want you to stay safe when you're using our stuff. So it was very important to us to make sure that Hit Analyzer would actually be able to work through the chain link or netting of a cage. We anticipated that probably most of our users would end up using the app this way. See, this more than likely going to be in a batting cage type scenario, whether it be inside or outside, or if you're on the field looking through a rollaway. In this video clip, you can see that the person doing the recording is standing just on the outside of the cage. I believe that it just so happened to turn out that 10 feet from the center of home plate was just on the outside of the cage, so this worked out perfectly. So it was very important for us to make sure that these types of environments worked. Now, the great thing about Hit Analyzer is you don't necessarily just have to hit off of a tee. It's not just a tee hitting tool. You can also take live BP. So in this clip, you can see that we have a pitcher throwing to the batter in the cage and him taking a cut, and we have our video recorder out there taking videos of each individual swing. Now, the only thing is again, make sure that you have your pre-analysis settings correct before you actually start analyzing these videos. One last thing before we wrap up, Hit Analyzer does not have the ability to analyze multiple hits in a single video clip, so make sure that when you're recording that you actually take short individual clips. So they're going to be about 2 or 3 seconds long. Other than that, if you need a refresher while you're out at the field taking some cuts, we do have tutorial slides within the app, so be sure to read up on those and refresh yourself up on those before you actually start recording. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten people message us saying that I can't get it to work, but it turns out that they just didn't read the instructions on actually how to record the videos. It's very simple. You just got to take the 5 minutes to actually learn how to do it. If you got any questions or suggestions for us, feel free to send us an email through our contact page on our website or message us on social media, whatever is easiest for you.